Harvie S., and we're here at Kolstein, NYC, at Harvie's Corner. And this is a new podcast, and it's called Bass in the Corner. And basically, we have in New York City what I call the lifeblood of the New York scene, and these are the bass players, and these are the people that are playing in all the things that you see live and the things that you hear, Broadway, jazz clubs, cabaret, all over the place, Latin clubs, everything. And I've selected some wonderful bassists, and you're going to get to meet them, which I think is great because you find out they're more than just going boom, boom, boom. So here we have the wonderful McSweeney. And so how are you today, Marianne?
I'm good. I'm tired, but I'm good.
Good, because you're working so much.
Yeah.
So anyway, speaking of working so much, what have you been doing lately?
Well, lately, I'm on a show called Some Like It Hot.
Oh, wow.
And it's on Broadway.
I'm jealous.
It's a great movie, and there's a little twist to it on Broadway, but it's basically like playing with a big band 6 days a week. So
wow.
It's a lot of playing, and it's awesome.
I know the band has got to be great musicians.
Unbelievable. I mean, it is really one of the best bands there is. I mean, there's some great music in the world, but to do this 8 times a week, it's really something.
Oh, and you're playing all acoustic bass on this?
Yeah, it's all acoustic, no switching.
Oh, nice.
And it's all just digging in.
What a great gig. And, of course, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. And I haven't seen the show, but maybe I will get to come sometime.
Yeah, absolutely. You should come on over. People love it. I mean, it's definitely uplifting. When you hear that audience start to scream, you're like, okay, let's do this. So
great. And so some other stuff you do, because every time I see you, you're doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I've always done a variety of stuff. So I'm playing for Brooke Shields next month at the Carlisle.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's going to be on electric and upright bass. I have this project with your friend Cheryl Bailey.
Oh, Cheryl, my
called
favorite.
Tourist Power.
I love Cheryl.
Yeah, I know. Cheryl's the best. And it's with your other friend, Jerry Braganzi.
Oh, with my other buddy.
And Mike Fawn. And
a guy that I like a lot, and I bet you even like more.
He's great. Husband. And then the drummer is Austin McMahon. So that's a project we did.
Austin's great.
Austin's so wonderful to play
Jerry
with.
calls him Awesome McMahon.
Yes. We had such a blast. We recorded 6 tunes, all originals between Cheryl and I. Ooh. And we're going to release one at a time. We haven't figured that out yet, but that literally just got mixed a few days ago. I was in the studio mixing that.
Can't wait to hear it. Oh.
Really excited about that. And okay. Well,
Name
else?
one more thing you're doing, because if we did only what you've been doing, the podcast would go on for 2 hours.
Well, let's see. The other, I know. Oh, this is huge. Tomorrow night, I'm at Birdland in the Birdland Theater playing with Katie Huffman, who's a Tony Award winning actress, singer. She's so fun, and it's just a duo.
Yeah. Oh, I saw some posts about that.
Yeah, it's very silly, but we're doing music from Peggy Lee to Jimi Hendrix, and it's bass and vocal. And she plays some ukulele. I see all the ukuleles hanging there.
Yeah, we got some here.
And I play a little bit of piano and violin as well as the bass.
Wow.
That's why I brought my little violin here today, because it's the schlep. I haven't figured it out.
This store is amazing because you can fix any string instrument here.
Yeah.
And this is like the place in New York for basses, violins. So I
brought my
great.
checkbook, Harvie.
Right. Bring your checkbook, and you're going to get a new wheel. They're going to hook you up with that.
The wheel. Critical.
They will hook you up with the wheel.
Yeah.
This is for anybody to come to. So now, when you were younger, and you just started to play the bass, which is, I find can be a good story because, being female, not that many women, especially in the past, were really gravitating towards the bass.
Yeah.
And it's becoming now hip.
It's hip.
But you were way ahead of your time.
Well, thank you. I mean, I was a violinist and a classical pianist. And my
I didn't know. See, that's what I love about this podcast. I find out these amazing things. No wonder your intonation and everything is so great.
Well, that's a work in progress. But, I was really into the classical stuff on piano. I did like concertos. I did the Grieg concerto, the Haydn in D major.
Oh my God.
The
I
Gershwin,
didn't know all that
the Rhapsody in Blue. And then I was like, do I want to do that for my life? And I was practicing like crazy, when I was a young kid. But what happened was my teacher, who was my violin teacher, he also we had a 2-year middle school.
Yeah.
And the girl that was playing bass in jazz band was going to high school, and he goes, why don't you play the bass over the summer and play in jazz band the following year? So I didn't think anything of it. He goes, don't worry about it. I'll give you the Carol Kay LP and book. Take it home. And Carol Kay, who was in the, a little skirt, her hair had like this little flip.
And she could play the hell out of it.
Yeah, bass. And it was all electric bass. And he said it's the strings are like the same, but they're flipped around. So I'm like, okay. So I just brought it home, and I told my parents it was a, hobby. And then a couple years later, my band director hands me an upright, and he's like, you want to do this? And the minute I touched the upright, I knew. But because of my training and all the money my parents were putting in for violin and piano lessons, I kind of like hit it. I was like, don't worry about it. I started getting gigs like.
You were a secret bass player.
Could I get a ride to this gig? Oh. It's just a hobby. And we would like throw the bass in the station wagon and go pick up my friends you remember the old Leslies? The Leslie.
Oh yeah, for the organs. Yeah.
So we had a Fender Rhodes with the Leslie. It weighed the car down like this. And it was a band called the Satin Dolls. And we only knew not that many tunes. And we would go do gigs. My band director hooked us up.
Wow.
Because it was better than working at like a hamburger place, and I needed a job because I wanted to buy a bass.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm so glad to hear these stories. I didn't know all this about you.
Oh, we went to the Concord Jazz Festival, and that's when I first saw Ray Brown play.
And that
that did it.
Almost every bass player that's come in and done the interviews, they all say, I heard Ray Brown and then I wanted to play the bass.
Yeah. And not only did I get to hear him and understand that, from the classical thing where you're sitting there, very, you can't be saying, yeah, all right, that sounds great during the gig.
Oh, God, no.
They were doing that. And I thought that was the coolest thing. And we went backstage, and I could not believe the hang. I was 13 years old, and I'm like...
And they were having fun.
What is this? This is what I want to do. But, I had to keep it on the DL because my parents were like... I came from a very religious home. It was not cool to play jazz. I was like the devil's music.
Oh.
So that became a thing. It was like I had to kind of really hide all that. I really loved also like all the rock and roll, Led Zeppelin. When I go to my friend's house, I would hear rock, but
more devil's music.
Yeah, 100%, fantastic. But anyway, that was kind of so I was inspired by Ray, and fast forward later.
I hear Ray Brown in you playing. I hear that influence.
I mean, I just heard him a lot. I didn't have a lot of records growing up, but my band director did, and he would play them at lunchtime.
Oh, you're so lucky. That's so great.
Yeah. I'm very lucky. I had Don Keller. I'll give a shout out to Don Keller. He passed on. But
thank you, John Keller, for what you've done.
Amazing.
And now I notice you have some CDs with you.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So tell us a little bit about these CDs.
All right. So I'll tell you about the most recent. This is the Urban. Did you ever get this? This is my Urban Fado CD.
No.
And long story short, I went to Portugal to play at the Seychelles Jazz Festival with my band featuring Mike Fawn and Rick Margitza years ago.
Wow.
Tim Horner was on the gig.
Great band. Tim on drums and you?
Yes. John Hart on guitar.
John, what a band.
So it was such a great band. We had a great time. And I loved Portugal so much. And, I had heard from my family that there was some Portuguese in our DNA. Okay. But I didn't know what that meant. Because I know I'm like half Croatian for sure, and a lot of Irish, McSweeney. And
Croatian Irish. That's
yeah,
very cool.
but then there was some other stuff. So something happened in Portugal where I was like, I want to find out what their blues is. Well, it's fado. Fado meaning fate.
Oh,
and
okay.
It was music that started in the 1830s to 1850s. It's a little bit, people aren't exactly sure. It was vocally driven. And I started listening to it by myself, like just listening to stuff I found on the internet. But then I would go to concerts, like at Town Hall and Carnegie Hall, and listen to these singers. And then I started writing music and playing it with the bow, the part that the singer would have. And so there's some covers on this, but a lot of it's mostly influenced by fado, like the chords, the structure of the pieces.
Wow.
So I've been working on that for 10 years.
Wow. I want to hear that.
Okay. You can have it.
I'll take it.
And this is my jazz CD from kind of a minute ago.
This has been fun doing these podcasts. Everyone's giving me CDs. So I got a pile of CDs.
You're one of the only people that has a CD player. But
I've got 2 CD players.
I bought a car because of the CD player.
And one in my car. I got 3 CD players.
Oh, good.
Now, what about this?
So this has Donnie McCaslin on it.
Wow.
Who came from my hometown.
Oh.
His father was a huge influence on me growing up because his father played in a place called the Cooper House in Santa Cruz outside every day. And I got to go there and sit in with these
And what did his
old
father
guys.
play?
Vibes and piano.
Wow.
And I didn't even know he had a kid because Donnie's younger than me. Then fast forward, we end up in New York together. And
so he played on the record.
He
I
did.
love Donnie's, one of my favorites.
So Donnie and Mike are the front line. And then there's Tim Horner.
Yeah.
And Henry Hay. I don't know if you know Henry.
I know
the pianist.
him. Yeah, sure. Great piano player.
So this is like almost all originals except for You Don't Know What Love Is and Yes and No.
Well, great.
So you can have that too.
I'm very. I will take it. I will take it.
Yeah.
So anyway, any last thoughts that you have to give to everybody?
I love the bass. It's awesome. This is a beautiful place.
Have you? Well, you've been to the Kolstein shop in Baldwin.
I have.
Yeah. So
it's beautiful.
Yeah, and now we're here in New York, so you don't have to go so far.
Yeah, and I just want to play all the basses during the next interview. So
you can.
I'm going to interrupt it.
You can do that. So anyway, Marianne, what a pleasure. And you're my neighbor.
We're neighbors.
We're
it's
neighbors.
True.
So thank you for coming today and gracing us with your presence in this interview, and always a pleasure to see you. And thanks again for helping me out in my time of need.
Oh, my God.
And all that. And thank you so much.
Thanks, Harvie. Thanks for inviting me.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you.